All right, guys, welcome back. We just got the clutch master cylinder installed, and we got that clutch line run halfway down. And now I'm gonna take the car back off the lift and do the interior part with the clutch pedals and the shift tower, I believe, is what we're gonna probably knock out in this video, at least the pedals. So let's get started on those pedals. Only reason for bringing it off the lift now is so I can open the door all the way and we can get under here. We can see that this is the boot and nut that needs to go on that master cylinder still that we pushed in from behind. And so with some light down here, we can see that this is our stock brake pedal, and the new one loses these two rows of knobs. So again, you have the option of cutting that yourself or essentially paying 200 bucks for Cambio Manuale to do that for you. And right back there, you can see sticking out our clutch cylinder. So we need to go ahead and remove these pedals now. So you can see that there's a nylon bar there, which is kind of cool. It's a spacer that takes the place of where your clutch pedal is, or where my clutch pedal isn't, I should say. So I believe at the very top of that bar up there is a 10mm nut. That guy right there. So we're going to remove him, and he is holding in that bar. All right, and two washers. That's what that bolt looks like. And then over here on our brake pedal, we have a 13mm nut that we need to remove. All right, we also have to free the brake pedal. There is a nut right over here on this side of it. It is a 13mm. So let me remove that. Oh, and you can see that the head of the bolt is on this side and it's just spinning, so we need a 13 on each side. Okay, got that out. It was positioned this way from the interior of the car going to the outside of the car. It had a washer on the head side and the nut over here. All right, so this shaft is gonna have to be pushed right in this direction, and this little electronic box is in the way. So there are two bolts securing it we need to remove. So there's one back there. All right, you're gonna be laying on your back, looking up at this box over here, and there are gonna be two bolts, one there, or two nuts, one there, one there, 13mm. Come under here with a ratchet with a 13mm, because you're going to be coming back and forth out of here if you don't. So that's the top bolt up there from the bracket, and I got the bottom one off already. 13mm. All right, I think that's all we need is for it to be able to swivel out of the way like that, because this bar is coming out this way, and now it can clear behind this bracket. Yeah, so ignore the picture. Do not worry about that nut. There's one on the opposite side where you can take this box off of the bracket, but you don't need to. You just need to disassemble or remove the bracket. All right, so this picture is wrong. Do not do that bolt. Do this one, and then there's one right below it out of frame here. Those two, bracket comes off. All right, next step is pushing the rod out. What they recommend is using a smaller socket and a C-clamp like this to get pressure on it to push it that way. So I'm gonna give that a shot. All right, using my new ones as a guide, a 14mm slides in there nicely.
So I picked up one of these yesterday. I'll put a link to this in the description and add it to things you're going to want ahead of time before starting this project. After posting some pictures on Instagram the other day, which go follow me on Instagram if you're not, somebody, a new friend of mine that has done this before, recommended marking this so that when you put it back in, you'll be able to line it up with the hole that we took that where we put the retaining screw in up there. It's going to hold, it's going to go through that bar, I guess. So he recommended marking this so that
You don't have to blindly rotate it and try to find the hole. Great idea. So let me do that real quick. Let's see, I have my witness marking pen here, so let's see if I can see what I'm doing. I can't do this in film, so I'm just going to mark a line. I'll show you. Let's see if that worked. Okay, so I marked it thusly. You can't even really see this without using your camera. It's so far over there, but hopefully that will work. And of course, it doesn't have to be exactly at the top or where the screw is or anything, just as long as you can see it easily. That's the easiest place for me to actually see it, so let's try it.
I have reaffirmed my hatred for all of these other DIY videos because nobody explains all of the stuff you have to do and how you have to do it and the size of the tools. So you're crawling under this frickin' thing and back out and back in and back out to try to get all of the crap you need. And nobody still shows how to get that stupid rod out.
All right, guys, I think I might have found a method to get this out. I could try that clamp again now that I found this, but the key was I found a 9mm socket that has a 3/8 inch drive, so it's a little bigger on the back side, and the head of this thing fits right in there, and it's actually a really tight fit and doesn't go in all the way. So I am now able to hammer on this, and I can show you where my finger is on this other side. Right here, you can see the shaft is starting to come out. Focus over there for you. All right, it does not want to focus. Hello, focus. So this over here is the other end of it coming out. Wow, okay, that's working surprisingly well because my socket now goes all the way inside there, as deep as it can get, and we need something longer now because you can see this was literally 30 seconds of me tapping on this, and you can see how far it's sticking out now. All right, so since that works so well, to get it started, what I'm going to do is, looks like a 13mm 1/4 inch is about the same diameter of this, so I'm going to use this. So it'll start like this, then I'm going to push it in till I can't hit it anymore, and then that should give me, because if I just do this extension now, I'm not going to have enough room to swing, so then I can come back, put this extension on it, and start using extensions, and I think I should be able to get it out. Okay, the 13 had a little too much slop, but if I come test it over here, the 14mm is pretty tight, so I'm going to use a 14mm. Oh yeah, this is working brilliantly. You can see it coming out over here now. So listen. Oh yeah. All right, documenting the progressions. So after the 9mm with the extension, we're gonna go with another extension and a 13mm, because that is what fits through there. And then after that one, I think we'll be in far enough where I can just do the double extension. You have to work it just slowly so you still have room to swing the hammer. Ah, blast. All right, so we moved that thing, TCU, out of the way, and now it is hitting the next one over. So apparently we have to remove that one as well. Oh, I also realized that after the bar gets out, it's pretty easy just to grab it with your hand and push it back and forth. So I went a little overkill on my extensions. After you get it out far enough, you can probably pull it out by hand. All right, I have a little tiny Phillips here to remove the Phillips on this bracket. It's holding this thing on. Try to get this off. All right, that came out easily. Ooh, okay, good. Pull this bracket open, and oh yes. All right, looks like this thing is gonna come out mostly Oh, yeah. Oh, I see. Okay, so it's got some pegs that go into the holes over there. 3 pegs. Maybe it used to have 4, not sure. Oh, all right. Now we got plenty of room to get that bar out finally. So I bet I can just grab it. And it is greasy. Oh, yeah. Slide it out. What the? Oh, are you kidding me? It's hitting that box. I felt this fall now, so I bet I can pull this spacer out. Yeah. Rustle that spacer out. Not that that helps. Motherfucker. What is that box over there? I don't know what that is. Oh, gosh. All right. Well, I disconnected our brake pedal from that little thing that it was connected to, and one of these fell out from each side, so I had little spacers over there. I can now slide the brake pedal off. Maybe I don't have to take that bar out all the way. I'm not sure yet. Let me figure this out. Here is all my old crap that I took out. Those 2 plastic bushings, this one that we're not going to reuse, and my new clutch pedal. Let's see. Well, it's about the size of this spacer. Oh yeah, that's right, because it also, you have to add this into the mix, so the clutch position guy. So he's going to go right up next to here, and you can see that that allows it to line up on the protrusion over here. So that's the order they're going to be in. We got this spring that helps pull the clutch back up, and you have to attach this one end to the back of your clutch pedal and the other end in the pedal box. So it just sticks on the back like that. So we're going to have the hook coming on this side of it so that we can install it easily once we get it in there. And then we got these shims and such. So this is how we're going to install them. Plastic, and then metal, brake pedal, metal, clutch switch, metal, clutch, metal, plastic. All right, so we do need to lubricate the inside of these here so that our rod will go through smoothly, and also it won't squeak when we're operating it. So I just have some good old general purpose automotive grease. I'm just gonna stick in there and lube them. All right, and a little coating on the outside where the spacers are gonna go. I'll put a little lube on the spacers before they go in as well. And I just put a tiny bit on the bottom and top of the spring where it's gonna make contact, just so it's not squeaking. All right, what the heck, let's start putting the stuff on. I'm gonna slide that onto, let's pretend this is my rod that's still in the car. I'm gonna slide this on first, then I'm gonna slide that one on, then I'm gonna put our new thinner brake pedal on, another shim, and then this guy. And one of the tips supposedly is, since that bolt goes in here and also goes into the rod, so there's a second hole in the rod that with this was just covered up and unused somewhere over in here. That is going to line up with that hole as well. So when you get that one in, they say that you can use the switch to actually rotate the bar to help you line that one up. But I don't know how that works yet. We'll figure it out. I will tell you, you will get very used to this view and get used to sliding under this thing doing this project. And eventually it'll be kind of easy. Sadly. Oh, my light is about to die on me. Great, perfect timing. Okay, so let's see if I can get my arm up here and film this. All right, bar here. So we got this guy. Come on. Oh, sure. Now the bar wants to start sliding. Oh, actually, it can't go all the way out. So. Nylon spacer. Oh, geez. Thought this would be the super easy part. That is a tight fit. Okay, I got one on. Then we got a metal one. He needs to go on. Okay, now we got our brake pedal. It's laying on my stomach that I need to get my other arm for. I'm gonna have to replace my battery here. All right, make sure he's facing the right direction. Get my arm back up here. Okay, so he's gonna go. He's gonna go on next. Okay. All right. Slide him on, and then this is gonna have to. How do I do this? All right. So I'll have to reattach him, and I got to get those two plastic spacers that go around here, and a new battery light. I'll be back. Also, before I forget, I went ahead and put the that black rubber boot and nut back on our master cylinder. At this stage, I could not get it. Well, so far, I haven't been able to get it seated like all the way over the master cylinder so that it's locked in place. It's still kind of loose now, but I don't know. It's better than what Michael did. All right, I'm gonna slide these two guys on next. Getting ready to install the last few pieces. Now this guy is gonna go into the threaded piece that's up there, and he's this one that stops it from traveling. So before I put the clutch pedal in, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and install this bit so it's out of the way. So I think the way this works is that at the end of the bar here, at the end of the bar, so our bar's coming this way, at the end we screw this thing on like that, and then I take the little lock nut and put it on top. A little too. All right, well, I can't get my arm up there right now, but I'm gonna put the lock washer on the back end. All right, here's something they don't tell you about or you don't think about. Let me zoom out here. So getting that clutch pedal in was not terrible, but the last shim that goes between the switch and the pedal, you essentially have to have the rod out really far to fit the pedal in there, and then there's not much lip of it sticking out for the shim to stay on, so you got to kind of use both hands up there at the same time, one of them pushing this rod in, one of them holding the pedal up there, trying to hold the shim in place at the same time, finding it, getting it in the right orientation so that the bar will go through. And now you can see, I'll zoom in here a little bit, there is a, you can't really see it here, let's see right here. Okay, so here you can see that there's a tiny gap. I don't know that both shims are gonna fit in there, but we're gonna find out. So I guess I just have to slide them up through that little tiny space while at the same time grabbing all of the pedal assemblies and pulling them to my left as hard as I can to make sure they're all left. Stick them up there and then push the rod through. So that's what you have to do as the last step here. All right, I got them both almost in there. I started with the plastic one. You get the plastic one in first, and then I started squeezing the metal one in behind it, and now they're both kind of in there, but they're not lined up together, so there's gonna be a nightmare. Aha, so I figured it out. So I got them shoved up there in a general location. And then I was like, crap, how am I ever going to get them even? So I took a tool, one of the little extensions, stuck it in the tube and pushed them around until they were kind of in the right place. And then I could just stick my finger up there in from that side and move them around to get them centered. So now I should be able to push the rod all the way through. And one of the keys I learned is my paint mark, I think, is going to be pretty useless because once it's pushed in all the way, I can't really rotate it. The key, I think, is just don't rotate that bar at all if you can. Just move it left and right without rotating it. And I finally figured out what they were talking about with the clutch position sensor guy over here. So it can rotate freely around here. So after the bar is in all the way, I can just rotate that around and find the hole where it goes in and attach this thing. And then I can use the switch with my hand and turn it, and that will rotate the bar to get the other bolt in. So, all right, I think that's the key. Let me try to knock that out. All right, let's see how I did when I put the bar back in according to my previous markings. Ooh, it's pretty far off. All right, so I need to rotate it down quite a bit. So I'm gonna knock it back out a little bit so I can grab it on the other end and rotate it down and then knock it back in. By the way, putting the socket in the other end and the hammer worked beautifully, knocking it in and out. Shut up. Second time I moved it. I can screw this screw in after swinging this back and forth. I found the hole and I can thread it all the way in. No way. All right, so now, like they were saying, I can use this and actually twist the rod to however I need it to line up for that outside one. Oh, yes. Let me just say, I saw a video of somebody doing this with the seats still in, and that is just madness. Madness, I tell you. Holy cow. All right, so let me see where our marks are now. All right. So pretty close. So with my other hand, oh, I can't even reach it with my other hand. Gonna grab this clutch switch. All right, now I got the clutch switch in my hand. And I'm gonna pull it and rotate our bar. All right, this mark was genius. Take it back, Michael. And should have just made it a little clearer. I had marked it a little better. It might have been good. All right, now let me try to tighten that bolt, see if it's in the right place. Hallelujah, we got the screw seated and it's going in. So yeah, just with my right hand, grab the switch to rotate the bar until you feel the bolt fall in. Start hand tightening it. And I think the hardest part is complete. All right, I tightened up that 10 millimeter at the end. I tightened up the brake pedal, this 13 millimeter right here. Tightened up the 10 millimeter on top of the clutch switch. So proof that your F1 wants to be a manual. That right there, I just have to cut off the zip tie and plug that into the clutch switch. And then I have to attach the spring to that little thing over there. I have to use some pliers, stretch that thing down. Okay, so on the clutch pedal, we have this little guy that stops the travel up. So when you bring it up, you won't let it go any further. That is a 13 millimeter kind of stop wrench, and you want to make it so it comes up and is even with the brake pedal. So tighten it up so it stops it there. All right, just when I was proud of myself, thinking I had the hardest part done, this frickin' spring. So I was taking these, pulling down on the bottom part, trying to get it under the little thing it has to go into, but I realized that thing is vertical with the hole in the middle of it. So I have to loop it in the middle, not like under it. So this part has to like go like this and then hook into it and come up, which what the hell. So I think what I'm gonna do is just bend this open a little bit to make it come a little more straight so I can try to get it in there. All right, I grabbed it with some vice grips. It's a little bit flatter now. Let me try that. All right, just that tiny bit of adjustment. That's all I needed to get that thing hooked through there. It wasn't nearly as bad. Again, I just used the hook tool, pulled down on the spring, got it kind of in the hole a little bit, and then just with my hand, like rotated the spring this way and stuck it in, and we got it in. All right, next we have to adjust the clutch pedal travel. So for the 360, it is 111.8 millimeters. For the 430, it is between 120.4 and 121.4 millimeters. So let me show you how we'll measure that. I went to Home Depot, or actually probably Lowe's Home Improvement, and bought me a 2x4x2 piece of prime lumber. So I'm just gonna line this bad boy up right next to the clutch pedal and push it all the way back so it is touching my carpet. And I'm going to use a handy dandy little pen and mark right next to where the clutch pedal is when it is in the full up position, which I already adjusted with that screw up there. All right, here's my highly scientific and accurate mark. So now I'm going to do whatever distance that is, depending on which car you have, down. I'm gonna mark it there, and then I'm going to push the pedal to wherever that new mark is and tighten the adjusting screw so that it can't travel any further than that. So you want to do that because otherwise it'll push your master cylinder in too far, overpressurize, brake seals, bad things will happen. All right, 121 millimeters we're gonna go with. All right, when we're looking back here at our clutch pedal, we can see it only goes that far right now. And of note, it currently does not get close to the master cylinder. So you can see we're not worried about pressing that in when we're doing this adjustment. But that bolt is right behind the steering rack on the back of this. Let me see if you can see it. I can't see what I'm shooting right now, but maybe you can see the bolt back there. So it's just a 10 millimeter, I'm guessing, bolt with a nut on it to act as a jam nut. But anyway, all you do is you reach back here and you turn it clockwise to screw it deeper into the hole to allow this to go further. And I'm gonna put my piece of wood right here and we're gonna adjust it until all the way down hits that 121 millimeter mark. All right, not sure if I can film this with one hand, but I had to put the wood on the inside, works better. At that mark and then push it all the way in. And it's right down to my other mark. So that screw is probably only sticking out by like that far. It's most of the way screwed in. It seems like as it gets really far in there, it starts making more of a difference. But anyway, play around with it. You'll see, get it the right distance and then tighten the nut down so that that bolt can't move anymore. All right, turns out it is a 13 millimeter So you're gonna want to get a stubby 13 millimeter right up here on that guy and tighten it down. So one last thing while I'm down here, this clutch switch, they say that when the clutch comes up, you want that to be depressed 6 millimeters. So you can mark where 6 millimeters is on the tip and then let it compress and see if that's how much you get. And to adjust it, you can unlock this nut or rotate the switch in and out. It's threaded to get it to the right height. So my recommendation after installing it, mark 6 millimeters on that while the clutch is still out of the car, and then it'll be easy to measure and adjust when you're under there. All right, this is the fork for the clutch, so the clutch pedal. So what we're gonna do eventually is we'll attach this end to the clutch pedal. We will attach this end to the master cylinder. So when you push the clutch, this is what will push the master cylinder in, but we are not going to do that until we're ready to bleed the system so that we don't actually accidentally press it in. So later on, when we get to that part, we'll see this again. Whew. All right, that was some work. Got it done though. So the manual does say not to make sure you do not engage the clutch pedal now because there's no fluid in the system, and then the master cylinder will get stuck in and then it'll be a pain in the ass for you. So don't do that. I'm not even hooking it up yet until after we do all of the rest of everything. Get the other side of that clutch cable hooked up, get fluid in it, and are ready to bleed it before we press anything. So that's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully it was helpful. If you're doing this job, it was definitely helpful. So please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment below if you don't mind. Helps the channel, helps me keep making this content. Very exciting. I'm exhausted. See you later.